Thank you.
Indeed, yes. And I knew I needed to wear green tonight, so I put my hair clip in green. So we are going to do spinach and feta pastry shamrock. My husband is on the other side of this camera and he's picking stuff off that I have prepared to show you. He's eating it. So that's what I'm laughing about. So sorry. Okay, so to start out with, I'm going to need some butter and I'm going to need some butter melted. So I'm going to take this. I've taken 3 tablespoons of the butter and I have put it inside the largest micro pitcher because I can stick that in the microwave and I can melt the butter. And to make sure it doesn't splatter all over my microwave, I just take the smaller one, which will fit on top, and I sit it on top like that. And I'm going to stick this in the microwave just for a few seconds. Does not take long at all. Okay, so there's that. Before I put this away, I want to point out our butter dish. If you've never seen this before, you can see those lines on the little tray part. Those lines are equal to the tablespoon measures that are on the wrapper of the butter. So when you take the wrapper off, you still have the measure here on your. I got stuff going off everywhere. Hang on. Okay, so you still have your measures on the wrapper I'm sorry, on the butter dish, so you know where to cut. Okay, so if you notice here, well, I didn't show you before. I should have shown you before, but you can see that that is very liquid now. So I'm going to set that aside for just a few minutes. I'll use it in a few minutes. The spinach that I'm using, I know we always like to show, we like to see, what it was that was used. This is frozen, so I'm just showing you the package here. This is just chopped spinach, okay? It's frozen chopped spinach. This is a 10-ounce package. The recipe calls for 9 ounces, and this is what I found. Nothing particularly special about it, just chopped spinach. If you wanted to flavor it, that's up to you. There are various, flavors and types with the spinach, so you can. Now, this right here, it's not available for us. I'm using it and I'm showing it just to encourage you that if you ever have the chance to earn something or win something or work for something, try to, because this is something that I've gotten in the past. It is actually a juicer, okay? It's a juicer, but it has this plunger in it where it pushes in. This is Tupperware. And what it does, I actually don't use this for anything else because I love my zesting press. I love the juicer that we already have. But this works perfectly for this because you take your spinach and you let it thaw out. Okay. You don't want to cook it with it or do this with it frozen. You can't. So you let it thaw out, but you have to get all that moisture out of it. You can put it in a strainer. You can let it strain, for a while, and you can push it with like you can take a cup or a glass or something like that and push that extra um, moisture out. But this right here works perfectly because I was able to put my spinach down in there. This fits on top of this little container here. And then this little plunger pushes down in it and I can push that out. And look at all that moisture that came out of a small package of spinach. So now I have my spinach. It is thawed, it is drained, it's in good shape. Okay. So what I want to do with the spinach is I want to chop it into or put it into my chopper because you don't want long pieces of spinach. Now, of course, we have options for that. We have the smaller supersonic chopper. We have the larger supersonic chopper. I am using my middle size. If I were doing the whole recipe at the same time, I would probably need the larger one. But since I did half of it before and I'm doing half of it now, I'm just using my middle size one. So I highly recommend any of our choppers. They are all, I wouldn't cook if I didn't have them. That's all there is to it. I wouldn't cook. I never used to like chopping up stuff. That used to be my job when I was at home with and my mom cooked. She hated chopping stuff, so she had me do it. I did the salads. I did for Thanksgiving when you chop up the onions and the peppers and the celery and all that. That was my job. So I if I didn't have these choppers, I wouldn't cook. That's just all there is to it. Okay, so I put that spinach that you saw, I put it down into my chopper here, and I'm going to put my top on. You do have to make sure it's lined up well. And then when I pull it, just like Brenda was talking about before, and just like Gail was talking about before that, you know, if you pull it fast, it chops smaller and you know, faster and so forth. If you take it slow and easy, then you're going to have, you know, just some easy chops to your product that you're doing there. So there we go. I just chopped it up enough just to get some of those longer strings out. Now, the next thing that I need for this recipe is some grated mozzarella. Okay. So of course, we all know the benefits of having freshly grated over the stuff you get in the bag, because the stuff in the bag has mystery stuff in it, you know, stuff that we don't know how to pronounce, stuff that we don't really know what it is. So it's much better to take your master grater system, which is so quick and easy to work with, and just grate it. Let me show you about this real quick, because we do have some people who may not have seen this before. So let me show you this. We have the base to the master grater system, okay? And you saw me a few minutes ago, I turned a little thing here. Well, that creates suction on the bottom so that it sticks to your countertop that you're working with. Now, this right here is our hopper part, our chopper part, okay? And it has a little, kind of like a little foot right here. And that foot fits right in the top of this base. So I'm going to slide that in there just like that. That has to be in place in order for this to lock, okay? And you're going to feel, as you turn that little handle part there, you're going to feel it kind of click. And you notice it just stays in place. Now, this right here, this is the handle. And there is a screw in the end of the handle right there. And that's what holds, I have some already that I've already chopped. That's what holds your cone, your blade in place. Okay. Has a little opening back here. It attaches to the inside of that, and that's what holds your cutting blade in place. And all you have to do is just slip that blade inside there, slip this on the end like this, and turn that dial till it tightens up, and you're good to go. You're ready to chop. Okay, which I'm doing all over the counter here. All right, so I'm going to take this, and you do need to have a container underneath the outside here, otherwise it'll go all over the counter. I recommend that you put your block of cheese, and this is just, well, this is half of one that was just a regular, I don't know, 16 ounce. Yeah, maybe 16 ounce block of cheese. I put it in the freezer before so that it would be as cold as it could be. You don't want it to be soft because it makes it much more difficult for the chopper to chop it, to shred it. So it's cold. I put it down inside here. This is the little pusher here. This top does come off. You could put cold water in here or ice in here if you wanted it to be cooler. You could also maybe put some kind of weight in here, something to give it more weight if you needed to push it down more. It's kind of up to you. But you do have to have that pushing on your product in order to get it into the blades to chop. So now all I have to do is just turn, and I should have turned it in a way that y'all could see the cheese coming out. I'm so sorry. Let me do that. Look here. I can do it this way. Ha! And now you'll be able to watch the cheese as it comes out of the chopper. Look at that. And it's no skin off my nose. It's not like this big, huge job that I have to do. I just have to turn the handle back here. So look at all that beautiful cheese there. I only needed half a cup, but hey, oh well. So, all right, let me try and get a little bit of this out of my way here. All right, so now we've got our cheese chopped, and we've got our spinach drained. We've got our butter melted. Hang on, I'm trying to put my thing back in place. Okay, so now what do we put this on? Well, the pastry, yeah, that might be backwards. I'm sorry. It's puff pastry shells or sheets. Okay, puff pastry sheets. And what it comes out in is like a container like this. You open it up and you have the sheet of pastry right here. Okay, and that's what you have when you open it up. Now you do want this to sit out for a little bit to thaw out so it's not stiff and hard, because that stays in the freezer section. You keep it frozen, but you can't work with it when it's frozen. So you need to make sure you give it time to, thaw out a little bit. They have little sheets in between. You just take, that's just to keep it from sticking together. You just make sure you take those out because you don't want those in your food. Now, I don't know if you can tell this, but there's a lot of flour on this side. So I'm going to take that and flip it over to the back side and work with the side that doesn't have quite as much flour on it. Okay. So, oh, and you notice I have spread this out on my, my silicone mat with rim. Two reasons. Number one, because it helps contain the mess, because the rim helps keep everything in and so forth. And number two, that way I can, work here and I don't have to worry about using one of my pans or something like that that's going to be harder to clean. So this makes it nice and easy. All right, so now I'm going to take a container because I need to mix up some stuff. I'm going to mix my spinach that I chopped up, all right, with the cheese that I shredded. So let me get those two. And you'll notice I'm using one of our spatulas that we have in our, and it's pink, yes, that we have in our gifts that we give out, our little gift bag thing, because this one is a little bit stiffer than the silicone spatulas. And with this, you need something that's a little stiffer so that you can kind of chop the feta crumbles up, and so you can mix it really well. So I highly recommend a little bit stronger thing to stir with, and the spatula works really well. So like I said, I need about a half a cup. Now this, remember, I'm doing half of the recipe. The recipe itself calls for a cup, but I'm only doing half of it, so about half a cup. There we go. And then the feta cheese crumbles. Okay, so there's that right there. This is what came in that. And this is what it looks like, when it's all the crumbles, what the crumbles look like. And I think this calls for 3 ounces of this. So I got like about 1.5 ounces that I'm working with, or thereabouts. Again, measure with your heart, with your desire, whatever you want to do. I did want to point out one of the things that I saw yesterday was this feta cheese with tomato and basil in it. So I think that would be a nice little addition to this to, give it a little bit more taste. So, all right, so I did those. Now I'm going to put some salt and pepper in there. Salt and pepper. And yes, I'm using my wonderful salt and pepper shakers. We have them in just about every color, or have had them in just about every color these days. I don't do a lot of salt. The butter, they do recommend to use salted butter for the to put on here. So that already has salt in it. So I'm very minimal with the salt that I use. But as you see, I'm just stirring it up. But it's all dry and it's all kind of crumbly. So you have to really kind of mix it in to stir it all together. Okay. And probably, this is the container from our whipping mix. Okay. And I might be able to I probably could use the whipping mix to mix it up. I just didn't. I didn't try it. I just did this instead. So that might work better. I don't know. All right. So that kind of got that all mixed up. Now, the reason that I melted the butter was because I'm going to take this melted butter and I'm going to put it all over this pastry that I have here. And I'm using one of our pastry brushes. If you don't have one of these, they're not available right now, but I think there are some people in our group that may have some. So if you want one, ask around. You might be able to find it. I was able to do that. Thank you, Brenda. I appreciate that. So I'm taking this butter, and you notice I am just putting it all over this piece of pastry, just like this. Okay? And now, oh, I did forget one thing. One thing that you do want to do is you want to cut off one little strip because you're going to need a strip for the stems. And that'll make more sense in a few minutes. But you're going to need just a little strip for the stems. And it doesn't matter that it has butter on it. That's not going to make any difference. Actually, it might help. So now I've got that. I'm going to take this mixture and I am going to spread it all over the pastry that I have here. Okay, so I'm just, again, using my spatula and I am just spreading it out all the way to the ends, all the way across. Okay, and I want to try and, if there are any clumps of spinach, which sometimes that happens, you just kind of want to take them and pull them apart so that you have more to spread out across the, across the different shamrocks. So I know you're going, what do you mean shamrocks? How in the world are those going to be shamrocks? Well, you're about to see. Okay, so now I've got this all situated with the mixture on it and everything else. Well, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pastry and I'm going to cut it into strips about 1 inch wide. And then I'm going to take those strips and I'm going to roll them up and I will be putting this into my MicroPro grill. Give me 1 second because I got to grab something else. I also did it in the oven just so y'all could see that, but I had to get it out because it was done. Okay, so this the spreader, what do we call these spreaders? Anyway, these will work okay to work on your silicone mats. You can use these and cut through the dough here. Do not use a regular knife. Do not use one of our knives because that will cut your silicone mat and you don't want that to happen. But what I'm doing is I'm just taking this and I am going to cut it into strips just like this. Okay. And for each one, well, for each shamrock, you'll have at least 3 leaves, or if you choose to do a 4-leaf clover shamrock, then you would use 4. So I'm going to do 3. And to do this, now I'm going to take this and each one, I hope you can see me, each one of these, I'm going to roll in from both ends. Okay, so you roll halfway from one side and halfway from the other side. And thank you, Gail, for telling us all about the MicroPro grill. That was a perfect explanation. I don't even have to talk about it at all. But I will say you don't have to worry about greasing it, oiling it, anything like that, because your stuff isn't going to stick. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sit this down right into my MicroPro grill right there. And then I'm going to take my next one here. Now you saw me put a little bit of butter on the sides of it. The reason I did that was because the butter kind of works as glue and it helps to glue your shamrock leaves or whatever you call them, shamrock sides, together while it's cooking. All right, so that's why I'm using that. So this is going to be the last one I'm going to roll up for right now. All right. Going to put a little bit of butter on the sides of it as well. And I'm going to stick that in right beside. Now, if you look here, kind of upside down, y'all, if you look there, you can see that I have 3 little deals that I've put up in there. I'm going to take my strip that I cut for a stem, and I only need half of it because I don't need it to be very long. I'm going to twist that into kind of a spiral, and then I'm going to stick that in between these 3 pieces here. All right. So that's what I've got right there. All right. Now, like Dale was talking about, you can put your micro grill in the grill mode or in the casserole mode. And when you're working with a bread type of thing like this, you generally want to put it in the casserole mode. If you put it in the grill mode, then what happens is it sits down on your bread and you'll end up with a pancake. Okay. So, generally speaking, if you're working with something that you're doing that's bread, like the cinnamon rolls, biscuits, something like that, you're probably going to put it in the casserole mode so that it hovers over your product that's in there. Okay, so that's what I've done right here. I'm going to put that in the casserole mode. I'm going to put this in the microwave for, it turns out to be about 7 minutes, 6 or 7 minutes. But by the wonder of TV, I have one to show you right here. And this was one that I did in the microwave just a few minutes ago. Okay. And you can see that it turns nice and brown. This is the bottom of it, nice and brown. It didn't stick at all. I will cook that one so that I can show that one too at the end if we have time. Let me also show you this one. This is the one that I did in the oven. Okay. And yeah, it's brown, a little bit more round, but that's just the nature of the microwave. I mean, yeah, the microwave is compared to the oven. And I used our okay, somebody help me, Ultra Pro cookware. Is that what this is called?
Ultra Pro.
Doesn't stick to that at all. You notice it comes right up just like that. And this tastes delicious, let me tell you. But before we go, I always try to have a couple of bonuses for you. And this one is really sweet. If we want to go nutritious, it's always a good idea to encourage your family and your kids to eat well. So for St. Patrick's Day, is that what we're doing, St. Patrick's Day? We can do a rainbow of fruit, and we can have the clouds for the rainbow, and we can have a pot of gold. Can y'all see that? I have too much junk here.
That's so cute.
At the end of the rainbow there. So this would encourage your family to eat. You could also, if you didn't want to do marshmallows, you could do like a dip. You know, we have fruit dip that you can make. You could do that too. And can I show one more thing? And it's just show. Well, let me ask you, looking at my display, can anybody see anything that's missing? Anything that's not here? Anything that's not there? Don't you don't see it? There should be four bowls here, right? 4 of the what are those bowls called?
Impression.
Thank you, impression bowls. Well, next time around, I can show y'all how I made an Easter basket with the biggest bowl. And you know how expensive eggs are now. Well, we have a great substitute for that. So come back next time and we'll talk about making an Easter basket.
Oh my gosh, Cydell. Stop.
Awesome. Too much, girl. You go.
Oh my gosh, that's